Hi, welcome back. I'm Leah Sia and I'm gonna do some more book reviews. So right now I'm holding my iPad and I'm just gonna look in my Goodreads and see what are the books that I read last. And so I'm gonna go backwards now to books I've already read and talk about them. So I thought it would be fun that I actually don't prepare a script. I just see, well, which are the ones that I read last, basically. So let me see. Sorted by date, updated. Yes, perfect. So, here we go. So before Frankenstein, I read, so all the books should be right behind me. If not, I'll jump it. So let me see. Where is that one? Could be over here. Yes, and it is right here. So I read The Broken Wings by, how do you say that? Kahlil Gibran. I'm not sure I said that correctly. This is poetry. I've never been much of a poetry reader, and I guess I still am not, but this book was recommended to me by someone I follow on YouTube, and the way she talked about it was just like, oh, I want to actually give it a try. So yeah, so I read this. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and without spoiling, so it's a love story, but written in poetry style, and the language is actually absolutely beautiful, which I really enjoyed. And still, like, what scared me a little bit about the poetry was like, well, how hard is it to read, or how much longer does it take to read? But I really liked it. I'm just trying to quickly find one of the passages that I really liked. Sadly, I forgot to mark it. Like, doing marks inside books is a new thing for me. I've never done it, but it's nice, especially when you want to give a little extra. Here. In the spring of that wonderful year, I was in Beirut. The gardens were full of Nissan flowers, and the earth was carpeted with green grass, and like a secret of earth revealed to heaven. The orange trees and apple trees looking like auras of brides, sent by nature to inspire poets and excite the imagination, or wearing white garments of perfumed blossoms. Just a little excerpt that's in the very beginning of the book. So it's very graphical. It's like, yeah, I don't think I can say much more without spoiling anything. So it's a love story, it's poetry, 4 stars for me. If you want to try poetry, it's also a tiny book. I can recommend this because it goes really fast, and like I said, for me, the reading went pretty well. All right, next book. I guess I'll do 3, like I did last time. I kind of liked 3. Oh, okay. This is gonna be maybe my first negative review. So, I read the final book of the Mistborn saga as of now, number 7, called The Lust Medal by Sanderson. Now, I guess anyone reading fantasy has definitely heard of the word Brandon Sanderson, this guy. And as much as I loved, so this is basically Saga 2, or I'm not sure, Season 2, or what exactly they call it. So the first 3 books, Mistborn 1, 2, and 3, were like the first age or whatever, and then 4, 5, 6, and now 7 were the second one. And I guess it's possible he continues with a new age, or maybe even in this age. I don't know, but I'm done. So yeah, I already spoiled it. So what did I give it? I didn't rate it on Goodreads because I don't want to be mean. But oh my god, like, the only way I got through this book was by extreme fast reading, if you know what I mean. Like, really just flitzing through, reading like maybe one sentence per paragraph, and then especially dialogues I would read completely, more or less. But other than that, like, that was the only way I could get through this. I already started to get a little bit tired of this series around... I really enjoyed book 4, so the beginning of the new saga. That worked for me, I really enjoyed it. And then book 5, I already noticed, like, it's not going in the right direction for me. It's lots of repetition, lots of re-explaining the things. Like, I understand, especially with book 4, you have to re-explain your magic system, because you can't expect every reader to have read your first 3 novels. But it's just, it throws you out of the story every time. On like, when he has that medal, he can do that, and then he can do this, and it's like, yeah, I know. And also, in the beginning of the book, it would like explain it every single time that the magic system is absolutely genius. Like, the magic system Sanderson invented for this universe is absolutely genius. I love it. Like, that I still love to bits. I think it's such a cool idea. It has to do with metal, and when you have certain metals inside your system, in your belly, you can like burn them, and they give you different powers, and different people can burn different metals, and it's a really cool system, and it's like, in a sense, almost believable. So I have nothing against that, but in the beginning of the book, like, even within 5 pages, he would re-explain. It's like, dude, you just explained it 5 pages ago. It's like, I didn't forget it, or even 20 pages ago. Like, I'm smart. Like, please trust your reader to understand. And if I don't understand, then I know I can go back 20 pages and reread it, for example. Or maybe even have an appendix, and it's like, hey, this is how the magic system works if you haven't read, and put it in the foreword that, hey, for all of you who are not familiar with this universe, we recommend you check out this first, something like that. I don't know. So one of my big complaints, magic system over-explained. And then just, I don't know, the story just lost its touch for me. There wasn't really anything different. Also, in the Mistborn saga, in the first age, the third one was a little bit... It just lost its spark, its magical extra that I really enjoyed in book 1 and 2. So book 1 and 2 are definitely... 1 is my absolute favorite, then comes the second. I mean, actually, I would say book 1, book 2, book 4, book 3, and then the rest is just, they're all similar bad. So yeah, no, not happy with this one. Still highly recommend to read the first one. The very first Mistborn novel is called The Final Empire. I highly recommend that one instead. And it works as a standalone, so you don't have to read, but I loved it so much that I bought book 2 and 3. And then when I had finished Saga 1, I was like, oh, let's try out Saga 2. And like I said, book 4 I actually enjoyed, and I read completely normally, not like this one. Yeah. Don't really want to say much more. I have seen one more thing. I have seen complaints about the ending in this book. If you're going to Goodreads and read some reviews with spoilers in them. I just want to say, I'm not going to spoil anything. I just want to say that I don't agree. The one thing that I did enjoy was actually some characters, what happened to them at the very end, I thought was actually well deserved. I'm not going to say more than that. So that I have no problem with. It's just like, also it's huge. It's so big. Also, it's so tall. What's one thing also, like, what is wrong with you people who publish this? Why do you do that? This is how it looks in my bookshelf. Why? Keep it in the same size. It's so annoying. It's like, I want to throw it away just because it has the wrong size. Yeah. Anyhow, let's move on. No more about that books. And I already saw the book that was before that, which is this one right here. It's called The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox. So, fiction novel, a little bit gothic, or actually quite a bit gothic, which I enjoyed, which is the reason why I picked it out. This was not recommended to me by anyone. I haven't really seen much talked about it. I just walked around the bookstore, happened to pick it because I like the green color, and then I like the title. and just read a little bit. It's like, yeah, let's try it out. I liked it for the most part. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4. 4 on Goodreads. So with this one, I really liked the beginning and where it was going, and then I towards the end it just went a little bit in the wrong direction. It went a little bit too crazy, a little bit too gothic, a little bit too fantasy, I guess, if you will, or like unreal things, like way more than just gothic. That was one thing, and the other thing that disappointed me a little bit was so there's a thing in this story. Maybe you would consider this spoilery, so if you want absolutely no spoilers, it's probably best to jump out of this video. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but there's an aspect in this book that I need to tell you about so I can talk about it. But basically, one of the magical elements that happens in this story is that the main character, she loses memory. But that was very interesting in and of itself. So, because then we see like characters reacting like, you don't remember, and then you as the reader, you also go like, oh my god, like what happened? Like you don't know either. But the problem is the author is not consistent with it. So what happens is that there are these situations where you as the reader, you remember it because it happened in chapter blah blah blah, and then a couple chapters later the protagonist has forgotten it, but you have read it, so you as the reader know this time what the characters talk about. And in the beginning it was more like you didn't know the protagonist, so you weren't the same level, but it doesn't stay consistently like that. So it kept like going, and when you actually knew what happened, it just kind of lost its touch, and it kind of lost its it had so much potential. Like if this mechanic now I'm going into gamey talky, but if this kind of magic or whatever you want to call it would have been consistent implemented, that either we always know what happens as a reader or we never do, but not like sometimes not, and forth and back, because also in that way things can just get retconned within the same book, and it's like, what? And yeah, it's that was just a little bit disappointing. However, I did give it 3.5 to 4 stars, so it's not a bad read. It's an interesting story, interesting characters that I really was invested in. A little bit cliche, the girl, but not too badly. I actually enjoyed mostly the side characters. But yeah, so if you like gothic novel, this is definitely a gothic novel you can try out. Yeah, that's it. Already in 13 minutes. I talked too long about Sanderson. Yeah, so those were 3 books that I read before Frankenstein, and next time I'm probably going to talk about a brand new one that I'm reading right now. So if you want to hear it, come back next time. And otherwise, thanks for watching. And as always, you want to comment something, discuss something, give me your opinion, feedback, write it down there. I would love to hear from you. That's it from me. See you next time. Bye.